Ohio State quarterback prospect C.J. Stroud is one of the top prospects in this year's draft class. He's arguably the safest pick at quarterback, in part because of his accuracy at all three levels. He's absolutely surgical throwing down the field. He throws us in anticipation, and he even showed off some mobility in his final game versus Georgia, saving his best performance for last. The only thing he's going to have to answer questions to is why there's such a drop-off when he throws under pressure, and also playing in a system with so many talented wide receivers. Will that translate to the NFL? I think it will. He reminds me a lot of Jared Goff as far as the body comp coming out. They're similar in size. Both of them threw in very prolific offenses at the college level and can make every NFL throw. So to me, C.J. Stroud is a day one starter for any team that drafts him.
Alabama edge player Will Anderson is the best edge rusher in this class. But how good is he? Look, in 2021, he was fantastic. He looked like he was the next great pass rusher going into the draft. But he didn't play as well in 2022. Some of that had to do with the fact that he was reduced inside, which was a strange move by Alabama. But he's still a dynamic player on the edge. He's just not an explosive edge rusher. The comparisons to Von Miller, I do not see. He's more like Khalil Mack. That's the player comp for Will Anderson. Strong, powerful, can get to the quarterback, but he's not an explosive edge player, and he needs to improve his moves to become a dynamic edge player in the NFL.
Penn State interior offensive lineman Juice Scruggs plays with great leverage and strength. He does a good job of adjusting his hands when engaged, but struggles to counter defenders that cross his face. The Ohio native drives his feet through contact and does a good job of absorbing contact. At the NFL Combine, he ran the 40-yard dash in 5.22 seconds with a 1.79 second 10-yard split and a 32-inch vertical jump. Scruggs does a good job of sealing angles in the run game and always looks for work when disengaged. He projects as a backup at the next level, and we have compared him to former NFL offensive lineman Jake Grove. LSU edge rusher Ali Gay is a longer edge rusher with a muscular build. If he gains a bit more weight, he will be capable of condensing inside and being used in more pass rush situations. Gay does a good job of containing the edge and using his power as a rusher. However, he needs to develop more pass rushing moves to be effective around the corner. Gay has average top end speed and is a bit stiff out of his stance. He needs to do a better job of getting off blocks. He had a 19.0% missed tackle rate in 2022, according to True Media. Gay projects as a role player early in his career, and we have compared him to former Raiders defensive end Mario Edwards. Iowa State wide receiver Xavier Hutchinson has good production over the past 3 years and very few drops to his name. He has a great catch radius to go high or low. Route running can improve, and he is not incredibly dynamic, nor does he possess high-end speed. Hutchinson had respectable numbers across the board at the NFL Combine to go along with his reliable hands. In 2022, he had just a 3.7% drop rate, according to True Media. The 2022 Biletnikoff Awards semifinalist does a great job of creating vertical separation with his footwork, and he has starter qualities, but his role will be determined by the wide receivers that are already in that building. We have compared him to current Chargers wide receiver Joshua Palmer.
Notre Dame offensive lineman JARRETT Patterson is one of the better interior offensive line prospects in this year's draft class. He's got a wealth of experience playing both guard and center during his time at Notre Dame and playing through a number of injuries since 2020. He excels in the run blocking scheme as well as being able to handle his own in pass protection. My comp for him is really comparing him to upside of Tyler Linderbaum coming out of Iowa. And I'm not going to say he's going to get drafted as high as Tyler Linderbaum, but given their size and body comp and the way Patterson can also move up to get blocks in the second level, I think that's more of the upside you're looking for JARRETT Patterson when he gets to his NFL team. What teams should expect for him at the next level? Immediately the ability to jump in and run a similar scheme to what he ran at college, be a day one starter, or at least provide as a very much capable backup.
If you're talking about experience, look no further than Alabama linebacker Henry To'oTo'o. Was a star at Tennessee, was a star at Alabama, a true quarterback of the defense at both stops. This guy is going to win a lot of ball games. He's going to be a leader wherever he lands at the NFL level. He's got smarts. He sheds blocks. He can drop back in coverage and be effective. However, from side to side, over pursues just a little bit. From a tackling perspective, not necessarily where he needs to be. Needs a little more leverage. You saw him get run over a few times at the college level. If you're going to compare him to somebody, Eric Kendricks of the Vikings, I think is a guy where he can get to that level, probably needs a year in an NFL system.
ECU edge rusher Dylan Horton has an average lower body build and below average explosion. He has active eyes, rendering him capable of dropping and clouding pass lanes. Horton has great top end speed and does a good job of dipping his shoulders at the high side of his rush. Horton does a good job of breaking his feet down in space and changing directions. He does a good job of shedding blocks. Horton needs to develop more secondary pass rush moves and the ability to turn speed to power. The New Mexico transfer is coming off his best season to date, amassing 10 sacks for the Horned Frogs. He is likely to begin his career serving as depth or fulfilling a role, and we have compared him to former NFL defensive end Jeremy Mincey.
Tank Dell, receiver return specialist out of the University of Houston, will find a role at the NFL. He is an undersized slot receiver with excellent speed, excellent quickness. He can separate down the field versus man coverage. He is a small target downfield, which makes the quarterback have to really look for him because it's hard to see him downfield. But he can extend, catch the ball away from his body, and do everything you want to see in a receiver. The thing that's most exciting about him is that he is electric with the ball in his hands after the catch. He is also an electric punt returner. He's going to walk into some NFL team, be an instant slot receiver. It's going to help them in the return game, especially as a punt returner. He has big playability written all over him. My comparison to him is TAVON Austin.